recipes for technical trading success in Cook's Kitchen.
Hey everybody, Cooker here, and it's time to dive into the hedge fund diaries. Yes, once a quarter, we get the 13 Fs, the reports that hedge funds must file with the SEC within 45 days after the end of a quarter. This year, usually they're in by Valentine's Day, but the hedge funds, they like to wait till the last minute if they can. They got sort of an extra day with the President's Day holiday, and so they were in Tuesday evening, the 16th, all finalized. So we're going to look at 5 or 6 of them that I thought stood out, and I may have positions in these stocks as we go along. First up is Moderna, the mRNA vaccine maker, along with Pfizer. It was exciting to see one of my favorite hedge funds, Bailey Gifford, increasing their position by 236%, buying 17 million shares to bring their full stake to 24 million. We had a nice trade in Moderna, made over 50% on the nice pop, especially after it had sold off down to the 120s, and then the Novavax vaccine, their good data from the UK sort of ignited the fire in the vaccine stocks again. This data is from NASDAQ.com, and I generally have this just sorted by the largest holders. So shares held, largest holders at the top. I'm not familiar with Flagship Pioneering. I should have looked them up, but no change from them. They hold a 30.8 million share position. Let's see what else stands out here. Fidelity looks like they trimmed by 77%, selling 26 million down to 7.9 million. Fidelity, you're going to see big moves like that. They were probably in early and took a big gain there. All right, moving along. Let's look at our next vaccine stock, and that would be Novavax. Not a messenger RNA vaccine, but the good data from the UK looks like they're going to get, it could lead to emergency use authorization here in the States from the FDA. What stood out to me here? RA Capital Management. This is Peter Kolchinsky. He's a virologist, biotech investor, and it was cool to see him adding in Q4, increasing his position by 200% in Novavax. So he's done well. He's caught a big chunk of the big move higher here. Other big investors here. Again, this is sorted by, shares held. You can see not a whole lot of trimming going on. We got Franklin Resources selling 43% of their stake, but they still have nearly 1.3 million shares. All right. Hey, for fun, let's take a look at Gamestop. And here I have this sorted by the change in shares in terms of sellers. I wanted to see who sold GameStop in Q4, and not to make fun of them that they missed the huge short covering squeeze from 20, or basically from 40 to 400. Not at all. But I did want to see Michael Burry. We knew he was in here, and that was Roaring Kitty's one of his sort of follows as a deep effing value investor. So you see Michael Burry is Scion Asset Management here. Sold his entire 1.7 million share position down to zero as of 12/31/20. So he missed the massive move higher. But I imagine he probably tripled his money from where he first started looking at GameStop as a value play. And then he, when he got what he came for, whether that was he thought the $4 stock was worth 20, then he closed his fundamental position. And so, that makes sense. Who could have predicted what was going to happen in January, right? All right. What do we got next here? I'm going to look at Big Commerce. This is the little big shop, the little big Shopify. Exciting stuff going on here. 2 huge new buyers, General Catalyst Group, buying 8.2 million shares, and Revolution Growth Management buying 5.66 million shares. So really cool to see those new positions. I own BigCommerce. I was worried about a IPO lockup in early February. The stock actually ran up to 90. Now it's back down to 70, where I'm looking to buy more. And let's see who else. I was following Tiger Global here with they did not do anything in Q4. This was a new position for them, I believe, in Q3 of 1.35 million shares. A couple other new positions here, Thrivent, and some increases. Some nice Alliance Bernstein, increases by 170%. BlackRock up their stake. Invesco increases by 400% to 640,000 shares. So, and Citadel obviously took a big new position. I mean, it shows it as a, 3,900% increase, but really they had such a small stake, so you could almost consider it a new position. So that's exciting to see. I like that. This is what makes it fun to look at the 13Fs. Even though the information is at least 45 days old, maybe 100 days old, depending on when the manager took the position, it tells you about conviction. I did a piece on, we saw Bailey Gifford in Moderna with the big add to their position. I did a little article and video on who I call the Scottish warlords of investing, because Bailey Gifford was founded in Edinburgh, Scotland in 1908, is still privately run held by 44 partners. And they've, their claim to fame right now is that they have always been the largest shareholder of Tesla outside of Elon Musk himself. And they made a small fortune there, and they continue to hold it because these guys are truly long-term investors. They had to sell some Tesla just because the position was so large as a percentage of their portfolios, but they're looking out another 10 years in what Tesla could become. They were also buyers of the trade desk. So this was December 3rd I did this, and they held on to Shopify. Okay, so we're gonna take a look at Shopify next and see what the Scottish warlords of Edinburgh did. So back to my slide presentation, and now shop. All right, what did Bailey Gifford do? They bought a little bit, very tiny little bit, so they basically had, 5.5 million shares, and they just added 75,000. So they really did nothing in Q4, and then just nibbled a bit here. In Q3, and they nibbled a bit in Q4. So that's, they have long-term conviction. And I also own Shop, who just reported this morning. Nice quarter, but big profit taking. I saw the stock was down as much as 5%. We'll see how it ends up here. Who else is interesting here? Lone Pine also just adding 70,000 shares, but a 4% increase for them because now they're up to about 1.8 million shares. Sands Capital Management, they took a little off the table. So again, and this is organized by largest holders. Who else? Jennison, another great growth investor. So long-term trend in Shopify, you're going to continue to see it be accumulated, even as it trades, over 40 times sales, maybe close to, 40, 45 times sales. All right, for our last look. Before I show you that, I'm not looking at the ARK funds at all, just because we know that Kathy Wood with ARK Invest has over 10% positions in 25 different stocks, and they trade every day. So yeah, they're one of the largest holders of CRISPR stocks, of Invitae, and those are all things that I also own. So the risk with following ARK Invest and Kathy Wood is that, when they have to trim stuff because it gets too large as a percentage of their portfolio. Here was a piece I did in early January, how Kathy put the wood to Wall Street in Tesla, Square, Roku, CRISPR, and Baidu, all of which, stocks that were sort of ignored, for anywhere from 2 to 3 years and beaten down, and then they just exploded in late 2020. All right, so back to our last 13F filing, we're going to look at Vaxart. This is a little vaccine company. This is emerging developmental stage biotech, where they're working on an oral vaccine. Now, they just released some data that was a little controversial because none of the participants had antibodies produced, but there were some other immunogenicity factors that were positive, such as the production of immunoglobulins like IgA and IgG. And these are important for what's called mucosal immunity. The immunity, the first line of defense of your body is your respiratory system, from nasal down into your throat, and then your intestines, all these areas that are lined with what basically is mucus as a first line of defense. That can be an innate immunity that an oral vaccine could stimulate, as opposed to systemic immunity, which is occurring in your bloodstream. So anyway, this is an exciting young company, and I noticed that RA Capital, Peter Kolchinsky, had a big position coming into Q4, and he dumped most of it. He sold almost 75% of his position. I think he probably got what he came for, buying the stock in the low single digits and riding it up to, say $8 or something. He probably had a double or even a triple there possibly. And then the stock vaulted just a couple weeks ago up to 24 on a short covering spike before their data, and then it's back down under $8. So that's where we started to nibble at the stock, and we'll keep an eye on it, so to speak. I'm not recommending that you go out and buy Vaxart, but just one I wanted to show you, and want to show you what some of the large investors did. State Street started a big position in Q4 in Vaxart. Who else is notable here? You're seeing, some decent names here, but I just thought I wanted to point out what an expert virologist, Peter Kolchinsky, did with Vaxart. And, this is the stuff, when you track it quarter after quarter, it becomes very interesting. You start to tell the tale over many quarters of what a large investor is doing with a given stock or a given idea. All right, that's it for this week. Thanks for joining me in the kitchen.